Welcome to This Explainer, where we are going to dive right into the incredible 60-year survival story of the last true American pony car, the Ford Mustang. From a rushed, incredibly risky internal gamble to a worldwide automotive phenomenon, we're charting its complete, continuous history from 1964 all the way to 2026. So, let's fire it up.
All right, let's kick things off with a totally staggering number, 10 million. That represents over 10 million Mustangs sold across 6 decades of continuous production. It isn't just a car anymore, it's an absolute cultural titan. But how exactly did Ford actually reach this massive milestone?
Well, that brings us to Section 1, Birth of an Icon, the Impossible Task. Picture this. It's the early 1960s, and Ford executive Lee Iacocca sees this huge opportunity. Baby boomers were finally coming of age, and they definitely did not want to drive their parents' boring family sedans. They wanted something sporty, stylish, and above all, affordable. But to make that vision a reality, the engineering team faced massive, almost impossible constraints. Iacocca set these incredibly strict targets. The car had to have exactly 4 seats, weigh under 2,500 pounds, be no longer than 180 inches, and carry a base price of under $2,500. After some really intense internal battles, Henry Ford II finally gave the green light, but with a massive catch. Engineers had a tight $40 million budget and just 18 months to build the entire car on the existing Falcon platform.
So, what was the immediate payoff for that crazy $40 million gamble? $22,000. When the so-called 1964.5 Mustang was unveiled at the New York World's Fair on April 17, 1964, dealers sold over 22,000 cars on the very first day alone. To put that into perspective, Ford had originally planned to sell 100,000 units in the entire first year. Reality just completely crushed that expectation.
The original Mustang literally defined what we now call the pony car formula. We're talking a long hood, a short rear deck, and just an endless list of personalization options. Ford offered everything to buyers, from hardtops and convertibles to that sleek fastback design. And under the hood, you could get anything from a basic inline-6 engine for cruising all the way up to the high-performance 289 V8. It was a car that could be whatever the buyer wanted it to be.
And man, the evolution from a sporty little commuter into a legit racing legend happened lightning fast. Carroll Shelby got involved early on, bringing us the iconic GT350 in 1965 and later the GT500. By the late 60s, Ford was churning out track legends like the Boss 302 for Trans Am racing and the massive Boss 429 built for NASCAR homologation, which basically meant they had to sell a certain number of these race-ready cars to the general public just to legally compete on the track. This rapid evolution into big block powerhouses resulted in nearly 3 million first-generation cars sold.
Moving right along to Section 2, Adapting to Survive, the 1973 oil crisis. But the story almost ended right there. Triggered by soaring fuel prices and incredibly strict new emissions rules, the gas-guzzling party of the late 60s was suddenly, abruptly over. The Mustang had to fundamentally transform just to survive. On one side of the timeline, you had the late first-generation cars, which were these massive, heavy bodies with giant Boss 429 V8s. And on the other side, the replacement, the Mustang II. It was dramatically downsized and built on the much smaller 4-cylinder Pinto platform to maximize fuel efficiency. It was a completely different vehicle. Now, I know automotive critics and purists absolutely love to complain that the 4-cylinder and V6 options of the Mustang II were severely underpowered, but you literally cannot argue with the ultimate results. It snagged the 1974 Motor Trend Car of the Year award and sold over 1 million units. The Mustang II was a massive commercial success that kept the legendary pony car name alive exactly when it easily could have died out forever.
Okay, let's dive into Section 3, the Fox body era. 1979 to 1993. Riding on a brand new, much lighter platform, the Mustang finally shook off the sluggish 70s and started getting its true performance groove back. And it resonated so well with buyers that it stayed in continuous production for 15 years. Think about that. It stands as the longest-running Mustang generation in the car's entire history, with roughly 2.6 million vehicles built during that really impressive window.
But the true legacy of this era was really built in the garage. Thanks to its lighter weight, way better handling, and the introduction of the legendary 5.0-liter V8 GT, these cars sparked an absolute explosion in the aftermarket tuning scene. Because they were cheap, fast, and endlessly modifiable, they became the ultimate drag strip heroes for everyday people. This era gave birth to stripped-down legends like the LX 5.0s and those highly respected SVT Cobras.
Which brings us to Section 4, Retro Roots and Modern Muscle, 1994 to 2014. Over this 20-year span, we can trace a pretty wild design journey, evolving from smooth aerodynamic looks all the way back to embracing its classic 1960s heritage. In 1994, the SN95 introduced much smoother styling while keeping those classic proportions. Then in 1999, the new Edge facelift brought sharper, aggressive lines, giving us awesome special editions like the Bullet and Mach 1. But the real cultural reset hit in 2005. The fifth-generation S197 launched a massive retro revival. Ford deliberately echoed the 1960s original with this bold, vintage-inspired design, and it was a massive success with buyers everywhere. This retro generation completely reminded the world why the Mustang mattered in the first place. And in 2011, Ford pushed performance even further by bringing back the legendary 5.0-liter engine, now in the form of the modern Coyote V8, delivering some serious power. Coupled with absolute monsters like the Shelby GT500s and revived Boss 302 models, the Mustang was an undeniable force on the street once again.
Next up, Section 5, Going Global, the S550 generation, 2015 to 2023.
For this sixth generation, Ford decided it was time to raise the game once again and take their uniquely American pony car to the rest of the world. Step 1, they finally standardized independent rear suspension across the entire lineup. This meant each rear wheel could react to bumps independently, which absolutely transformed and modernized the car's handling dynamics. Step 2, they introduced efficient EcoBoost 4-cylinders to sit right alongside the muscular Coyote V8, appealing to diverse global markets. And Step 3, they marketed the car globally in a big way for the very first time. The result? A globally recognized sports car that also delivered incredible track-focused thrills with the Shelby GT350 and GT500.
And finally, Section 6, the last pony standing, the S650 generation, 2024 to present.
This current era proves beyond a shadow of a doubt that this car is the ultimate automotive survivor. Ford smartly kept the classic rear-wheel drive layout and long hood proportions we all love, but they injected a ton of modern tech to keep the platform completely cutting edge. We are talking about a fighter jet-inspired digital cockpit with huge screens and even sharper driving dynamics. And don't worry, the muscle is definitely still there. The 5.0 Coyote V8 now makes around 480 horsepower in the GT and a thrilling 500 horsepower in the brand new Dark Horse model.
And hey, if that wasn't enough for you, 800 high-end extreme models like the upcoming GTD are now engineered to push out over 800 horsepower. Ford is taking this traditionally accessible pony car platform and pushing it straight into modern supercar territory. It is just a stunning feat of engineering. So the crucial takeaway here, what you really need to remember today, is this. As of right now, going into 2026, the Mustang stands alone as the last traditional American pony car in continuous production. While literally all of its historic competitors have either disappeared completely from the market or transitioned into electric vehicles, the Mustang continues to proudly fly the flag for accessible, pure V8 driving fun. From a rushed 18-month internal project to a 60-year cultural icon, it has survived oil crises, performance droughts, and massive industry shifts. Which leaves me with one final question for you. What is your absolute favorite Mustang generation or model? Out of everything we covered in this explainer, which era really stood out to you? Drop your favorite in the comments below. Thanks for joining me on this incredible ride through automotive history. Keep learning, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.